you have a dog, or you know someone who does, and you have probably never once stopped to ask the question that should change everything. Where did this animal actually come from? Not in the vague sense, in the real, specific, almost unbelievable sense. Because the story of how dogs came to exist is not a story of human genius. It is a story of garbage, fear, and two species stumbling toward each other in the dark without a single plan between them. It is 15,000 years ago. You are a hunter-gatherer somewhere in Eurasia. Wake up. Try not to die, find food. Try not to die again. Sleep, repeat. And one night, sitting beside your fire, you hear something move in the darkness just beyond the light. Two yellow eyes blink at you from the shadows. Most animals at that moment would run or attack. This one does neither. It just sits there, watching you. And something about it makes you not throw your spear. That moment is probably where the entire story of dogs begins. Here is what most people get wrong. Humans did not plan this. No ancient person decided to take an apex predator and spend 10,000 years turning it into something that sleeps on a pillow and panics when you leave the room for 30 seconds. What happened was stranger, more accidental. Dogs are biologically a domesticated subspecies of the gray wolf. Every dog that has ever lived is descended from wolves. Scientists estimate domestication happened somewhere between 15,000 and 40,000 years ago. What is not disputed is that dogs were the first domesticated animal. Not cattle, not horses. Dogs. By thousands of years, horses were not domesticated until 6,000 years ago. Dogs were living beside humans when farming had not yet been invented. So how? The romantic story says a kind human found wolf pups, raised them, trained them, created companions. That story is wrong. Wolves are not domesticable as adults. You can raise a wolf pup from birth, socialize it intensively, and it will still be, in every way that matters, a wolf. The idea of a single brave human taming an apex predator through patience alone ends badly. What actually happened is simpler and more humbling. The wolves came to us, and they came because of garbage. As humans became better hunters, they produced something no other predator was generating. Consistent, reliable leftover food. Bones, scraps, discarded parts. For a scavenger like a wolf, a human camp was a restaurant that never closed. Certain wolves started edging toward those camps. Not the dominant, aggressive ones. Those wolves wanted nothing to do with creatures who carried fire. The wolves that crept closer were the ones with a slightly lower fear response. Slightly calmer. Slightly more tolerant. And those wolves got fed. The more aggressive wolves kept their distance and had fewer offspring. The calmer wolves ate, survived, and passed their lower fear to their pups. Generation after generation, natural selection was quietly building something new. Not because any human chose it, because fear was expensive. The wolf was domesticating itself. The proof came from one of the most remarkable experiments of the 20th century. In the 1950s, Soviet geneticist Dmitry Belyaev began secretly breeding silver foxes on a Siberian fur farm, hiding his real work from a government that had banned genetics research. He selected foxes for one single trait: tameness. Every generation, only the calmest animals bred. That was the only criterion. Within a few generations, something extraordinary happened. The foxes did not just become friendlier, they changed physically. Ears went floppy. Tails curled upward. Coats developed white patches. Faces became rounder. They started seeking eye contact and wagging when humans approached. They began to look and behave like dogs. Belyaev had only selected for tameness, but tameness was connected to the entire biological architecture of the animal. The process that turned wolves into dogs was not just behavioral. It restructured the animal from the inside. Once these calmer wolves had spent enough generations near human camps, something new became possible. They could read human faces. Dogs follow pointing gestures. If you point toward a hidden object, a dog looks where you point. Wolves do not do this. Even wolf pups raised by humans from birth, socialized intensively, do not reliably follow a human point. But a domestic dog puppy with almost no training will look exactly where you point. This is not learned behavior, it is genetic. Dogs have been shaped across thousands of generations to read human signals in a way no other animal can match. When a dog holds your gaze, both of your brains release oxytocin, the bonding hormone, the same chemical released between a mother and her newborn. A predator that should compete with you has been rewired over millennia to chemically bond with you through eye contact alone. Dogs even have a small facial muscle above their eyes that wolves do not have. When activated, it produces the expression humans instantly recognize as soft and irresistible. Puppy dog eyes. This muscle appears to have been selected for because it works. It triggers human nurturing instinct. You thought you chose your dog. Your dog's ancestors spent 10,000 years evolving to make you unable to resist. By 10,000 years ago, dogs were already fully embedded in human life. Ancient graves from this period contain dog bones arranged carefully beside human remains, sometimes with a human hand resting on the animal. Not buried as food or tools, as companions, placed deliberately by people who wanted them present in death as they had been in life. The oldest human dog burial is one of the oldest expressions of emotional attachment in the entire archaeological record. In a world of brutal survival and constant hardship, humans were grieving their dogs and honoring them. That impulse is 15,000 years old. It has not changed. What makes this story different from every other domestication story is that dogs participated in their own transformation. In virtually every other case, humans captured animals, penned them, bred them for human purposes. The relationship was extractive. Dogs are the exception. They approached us, they adapted to us, and we adapted in return. There is a serious scientific argument that dog domestication was a significant factor in human success as a species. Dogs gave early warning of predators. Dogs helped in hunts. Dogs may have contributed to human expansion into new territories. We did not just create dogs. Dogs helped create us. That wolf 15,000 years ago was not making a noble decision. It was hungry, slightly less afraid than its siblings, and it wanted the bones by the fire. But that fraction of courage, repeated across uncountable generations with no plan and no intention, produced the only animal on Earth shaped by evolution specifically to understand the human mind. Tonight, when your dog hears your keys in the door and responds with joy that seems completely disproportionate to the situation, remember what you are seeing. That is 15,000 years of mutual transformation, expressing itself in real time. That happiness is ancient. That bond was built slowly, accidentally, at the edge of a fire, by a wolf that was simply a little less afraid of the dark, and that changed everything.